Welcome, everybody. I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, I'm going to be reviewing a song for the Dark Times by Ian Rankin. Again, man, this is one of those British mystery series that I've been following. You know that I love the mystery series that are set over in the UK. This one happens to be set in Edinburgh, Scotland. There's 24 books in the series. I just read number 24, A Song for the Dark Times. It's the Inspector Rebus series. I took the trouble to bring them all down from my library, which isn't easy. I don't like doing it. So please click like and subscribe just for the fact that I did that. I brought the whole series down from my library, put them up here. You know, I started collecting them all in mass market paperback, and then I started collecting them all in hardcover. Got the whole series. Inspector Rebus, 24 books. Now, before we get to Inspector Rebus himself, there's a couple of these books that are sort of spin-off series about some other cops that Inspector Rebus works with, the internal affairs cops, and that's the complaints. Let's see, where's the complaints? It's this one right here, the yellow one over here, the complaints. Oh man, that's probably my favorite book in the series, about the internal affairs police. Loved it. But they all tie together. You can read them all as standalone novels if you want. However, if you want to start at the beginning, Noughts and Crosses, which is down here, and work your way through all 24, please do. Why wouldn't you? Let's talk about Inspector Rebus. Who is Inspector Rebus? What does he do? Well, he's been around for a long time, since the early 90s. He's been solving murders in Edinburgh, Scotland the whole time. And I've been reading about each murder and each one he solves. Pretty good. They're really good. Ian Rankin writes really well. He really gets you into the nitty-gritty underbelly of Scotland with Inspector Rebus and the Scottish police force. I love it. This book starts out with Inspector Rebus. He's an older guy now. Remember, we got 24 books. He started out as a young cop. He's an older dude now. He's got a daughter. His daughter has a granddaughter. We find all this stuff out in the previous books. You know, we get to see his daughter get older, get married, have kids. Anyway, Inspector Rebus is moving out of his apartment that he's had for a long time. His associate, the other inspector that he works with, I'm going to say this name, and I hope I get it right. People let me know if I get this right. It's her name, the secondary character in this series that follows Inspector Rebus around her name is spelled Siabhon. I think that's Siobhan. It's either Siobhan or Siobhan. So I pronounce it Siobhan Clark. She's the other inspector that follows Rebus around. They're kind of moving Rebus out of his apartment into a new apartment. They've bought some IKEA furniture, and those two setting up the IKEA furniture, they had more trouble with that and argued with each other more about that than they did in all the murder mysteries they solved combined. It was funny. It was really amusing. But anyway, in the midst of him moving, he gets a call from his daughter, and his daughter, whose name is Samantha, a girl we've followed through most of these novels. She's an older woman now. Not an older woman, in her early 30s or something. She's got a little kid named Carrie, and she's got a deadbeat boyfriend that Inspector Rebus hates his guts, right? Well, Inspector Rebus's daughter calls him in the midst of this moving from apartment to apartment, and she's like, hey, listen, man, my boyfriend has gone missing. Nobody's seen him for a while. You got to help me find him. And of course, Inspector Rebus is like, yeah, man, your boyfriend's such a deadbeat. He's probably just out messing around, doesn't take it seriously. But it's his daughter, so he goes across Scotland to another town and then he finds out that there's a lot of stuff going on. That's the basis of the mystery here. And this is a little bit more personal of a mystery for he hasn't had to deal with a mystery this personal yet. Inspector Rebus, all of the people that he's known that have been killed have not been actual family members, like the missing people that he's investigated, the murder deaths that he's investigated, all the things he's investigated, him and Siobhan, his sidekick, none of them have been this close to family. And now it's actually direct family. It's the boyfriend of his daughter and the father of his granddaughter. So now he's got to figure out this mystery. It was great. It was great to see a more personal side of Inspector Rebus in this new book. That's all the plot I'm going to give. You know I don't give spoilers. I try to get you jazzed about reading different series. And there's a lot of series that you can read. This is one of them. Ian Rankin, Inspector Rebus, Scottish Mysteries. Fantastic. I give this a solid 7.5 out of 10. Don't know if it's as good as some, like my favorite one was The Complaints. 10 out of 10. Well, I'll review that someday. Spoiler warning, I give it 10 out of 10, probably. Anyway, this is a great series. All of these books are real solid. Please, please, go out and get them. Ian Rankin, Inspector Rebus. If you don't want to read the books, like every murder mystery set in the UK, it's a PBS TV show called Inspector Rebus. You can watch every book as an episode of television. 7.5 out of 10.